Dental Nachos crew, I have a question for you. Would you like to figure out how to scan the scanner while scanning and learn about implants? I'm here with my friend, awesome newish dentist, Dr. Marcus Cowan, who's going to be a speaker at Superboost. Superboost is 18 CE credits right now for only $18 until Valentine's Day. Just take out your best friend, your phone, and text Boost to 215-543-6454. Some of your favorite things, dentist. CE at a cheap price from your couch. I know you're going to love it. So, Dr. Marcus, thanks for hanging with me. Tell us, I always like to know what people are doing. Tell us about your dentisting day. Tell me how long you've been out of dental school and what you did in the real world of dentistry today.
Yep. So I graduated from dental school in 2017 from what's now called the Dental College of Georgia, formerly known as Medical College of Georgia in Augusta. I did a 2-year GPR at the same location, heavy surgical emphasis. We learned IV sedation, implants, things like that. So I worked part-time while I was in residency, and now full-time in private practice. And today, a little bit of a mix, surgical extraction, denture adjustment, fillings, just got finished with filling and an onlay, and some new patients. So good little mix.
Marcus, you are such a kind guy, an awesome guy. And also you're a very tall guy. How tall are you?
6'7".
So that I have a patient who's 6'7", not quite as in shape as you, but he's older than. So when I did an overdenture on him, it looks like giant, right? I want to see you in that onlay. Take your hand and put your onlay in it, because I have a feeling that that's going to disappear.
Trying not to like crush those little things with my hands is the hardest part of the
exactly. Well, one of the things I like to dig into, we're going to talk about Superboost in a minute, but I'm really into decision making. How do dentists make decisions? How do people make decisions? So share with us, you're a 4th-year dental student. What made you say, I am going to do an AGD or GPR? I think that's the right treatment plan for my life, because I know that'll help some of our people out there in the dental nachoverse.
Well, what went into my decision is I knew I wanted to do general dentistry, but I wanted to do some procedures that are more involved than just fillings, crowns, your bread and butter dentistry. I wanted to do implants. I wanted to take out wisdom teeth. So some friends of mine and we all sat down and we talked, and it said, okay, if I go and practice, then to go back and take something like the Maxi course, which is the AAID branded implant course, where it's a 9-month kind of implant continuum. That course costs about $20,000, and you have to go a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, once a month for 9 months straight.
Yeah.
And so the cost of that ends up being the $20,000 you spend, plus a Thursday, Friday you have to take off, travel expenses. Some people bring staff. The cost of the course overall starts creeping up high.
Sure.
Or as a dental student who's making negative because I'm taking out loans, I can go to a resident salary, which is more than zero, but it won't be like a step down from private practice, and they'll pay me to teach me implants.
Right. I love you. You're just like how I was. You're getting paid to do CE, and I have a feeling you could do this for real. This is my daughter's basketball, so I can't palm a real basketball. But I was just talking with the Nacho team today about, I love basketball, but the concept of scrimmaging, right? You did your fundamentals and you got to scrimmage, and scrimmaging was simulating a real game. And that's what residencies do. I'm a huge fan of C. I've taught the basic implant courses. I've gone to C. We had Dr. Jason Smithson with a composite course, but it's very difficult / impossible to replicate that feeling of doing this work on patients early in your career. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, no problem.
And now you're in private practice. What are some things that I know you might repeat yourself at school? What did you do today that you wouldn't have been able to do without this GPR? Like, which procedures they listed would you probably not be able to do with comfort and confidence?
Well, one thing about the GPR is exposure. We all were in dental school, right? Where you had to do at minimum, like, was it 40 fillings and like 20 crowns or something like that. But after your 20th crown, you're not fast, you're not efficient. You're just like, don't hit the other tooth, don't hit the other tooth, don't hit the other tooth. And in residency, I did more fillings, crowns in my 2 years of residency by a far margin than I did in dental school. So just even those routine procedures, you get a comfort zone. You get to try new burrs, try, okay, I used to just cut the facial first. Let me try occlusal reduction first. And you get to figure it out in a setting that's not based on production as much as private practice is.
I always say this, and it's such a good conversation that I'm the biggest fan of supporting dentists at all ages and stages of career. But in my practice where I was yesterday, there's no time in private practice to practice the basics. The main person it's not fair to is the patient.
Yeah,
They could be a super nice person. You said, hey, do you want to sit for 2.5 hours to do something that would take one of our experienced dentists 45 minutes? They might be like, I like that young dentist, but I got places to be. So that's the challenging part, that real game practice get before. So that's awesome, Marcus. Now, we're doing Super Boost. We got 18 awesome secrets. We're going to talk about composites, endo, implants, digital dentistry. I've asked you to share what you love to do, digital dentistry and implants. Share with us what people are going to learn when they hear you speak at Super Boost.
Well, at Super Boost, my goal in it is for the general dentist who maybe does implants, who's interested in integrating a digital workflow into their implant planning process and implant placement process. You don't have to go full digital. You don't have to just fully commit, because I know that's a barrier for some people. They maybe don't want to buy a CBCT and they don't want to buy a scanner and they don't want to buy a this, that, and the third, but there are ways that are cost effective, because dentists are notoriously cheap. There are cost effective ways to introduce the digital workflow into your planning, your execution of implant placement, and make it a lot less stressful the day of. So just like you said, you take a procedure that instead of it taking you 2.5 hours, it can take you 45 minutes, and it's better for you, the patient, and the staff.
And I love that. There's going to be so much value. The way you approach it in this humble but value-packed way is we're just too dramatic. I said, I did a poll, do you use triple trays for a posterior crown? And someone goes, I don't, because I scan every single case. Now, if you're a practice owner and you have full control in a solo GP office, that's fine. But what if you're an associate who was used to scanning, and now you go somewhere and they don't have a scanner? You're going to have to use your triple tray muscles. What if you're into triple trays and you go somewhere that doesn't happen? So developing, again, it's like fundamentals of dribbling, passing, and shooting to play this wacky game we call dentisting, because you may buy a practice. This happens a lot, Marcus. Sometimes associates are in these practices that are amazing. They got scanners, they got CBCTs, they worked it. Then they go buy a practice that has technology from 25 years ago, and they can't always implement everything at once financially, emotionally, systems-wise. So I love you sharing that. So to join us for Super Dentist Boost, you get awesome discounted tickets. Text Boost to 215-543-6454. And as we wrap up, Marcus, I always share my main message at Nachos, and make new friends, be kind, but it's really to take dentists who feel like this. And we all feel like this sometimes. I felt like this yesterday, right? I had a patient yesterday who's a great guy. He has a fractured number 2, can't do anything to fix it. It's been like that for a while. He came in for something else. I said, are you going to take care of this? You don't want it to, get worse. He goes, let's see what the insurance covers first. I always cry inside a little bit, right? Nobody asks that at a restaurant. No one says, I want a premium old fashioned, only if my insurance covers it, right? So I want to take dentists like this to this, your dentist core. So if you could share with the Nacho audience, if you were leaving dental school right now, separate than the GPR part, what would you look to do to develop your dentist core with business or patient communication or decision-making? What are some things that you would recommend dentists do?
One thing that I recommend a lot is a Facebook group like Dental Nachos. It's the whole site in and of itself is like CE. You get to see, and a lot of the different dental Facebook groups, you get to see cases that other people post about. You get exposure to new techniques, to new workflows, to different things like that. That's great. Now is a little bit funny time, but in-person CE. Yeah, that was a big one. Going to courses and being able to just soak up knowledge from people who have done the things that you're trying to do already, and you learn from other people's mistakes.
And I love that, Marcus, and it's important. I mean, there's so many good Facebook groups out there to join and contribute to, and everyone's we're all supposed to be respectful, but we're not all supposed to agree. Do you think the Bucks and Chiefs totally agreed on every play they were going to call? No, they were arguing and saying, I want to call pass, I want to call run. They look back. So we're supposed to have this disagreement with the foundation of respect so we can learn. I mean, here are things they don't go over in dental school. What happens when your office manager asks for a raise? What if your assistants all call out on the same day? Should you reschedule patients or not? And these are the real world, what would you do things that I love that we have in these Facebook groups and other forums. And I appreciate you contributing to it. And that's why I like Marcus. You're a young guy, young dentist, but get on Facebook. I say that, you know who the problem with the Facebook people are, Marcus? The young people and the older people, right? The older people say, Facebook's not for me. And I say, well, do you want to sell your practice one day? Get on Facebook. And then the younger people sometimes like, I only do Instagram. I'm like, love your pictures of your vacation. But like you said, jump onto these groups and start contributing, because it's really the only community that we have right now without in-person C. So I really appreciate that, Marcus.
Yeah, man, no problem.
So I always like to ask, how can people follow you on Instagram? I've been following you. I like the cases you posted recently. What hashtag or what follow could they follow you on?
So on Instagram, my name is Marcus Cowan, DMD. That's MarcusCowan, DMD. And it's a completely dental Instagram page. So I post cases. There's restorative, there's fillings, there's crowns, there's onlays, there's implants, there's surgery. So just kind of whatever comes on my schedule, and I get the time to take good pics of it, I'll post
That's
them.
great. That's the dentist and gyno we run, and that's the real world stuff. And there's a lot of fun to being a dentist, but there's also a lot of challenges, and you got to figure out a strategy for you to get through these days. Because it doesn't matter if you've been a dentist for 30 years or 3 years. Full contact arts and crafts on people who don't want to be there can make you feel like this. So Marcus, I appreciate you helping our community feel more like this.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate being part of the community.
Thanks so much, Marcus.
All right, well.